नमस्कार, कैटलिस्ट फॉर चेंज में आपका स्वागत है। ये बातचीत समर्थ बाय हांडे पहल का एक हिस्सा है। समर्थ हांडे मोटर इंडिया लिमिटेड की एक ऐसी कोशिश है जो भारत में दिव्यांगजनों के लिए एक जागरूक और समावेशी समाज बनाने की दिशा में काम कर रही है। अपने दूसरे साल में प्रवेश कर चुकी ये पहल असिस्टिव टेक्नोलॉजी और एक्सेसिबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर जोर दे रही है ताकि दिव्यांगजनों के लिए एक ऐसी दुनिया बनाई जा सके जहां उनके लिए कोई रुकावट ना हो। भारत के दिव्यांगजनों के लिए सच में एक बैरियर फ्री वर्ल्ड हो सके। हर एपिसोड में हम ऐसे चेंज मेकर से मिलते हैं जो इंक्लूसिव सोसाइटी बनाने के लिए लगातार काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे हर गेस्ट में इंक्लूसिविटी की एक सोच होती है और वही उन्हें एक सच्चा कैटलिस्ट फॉर चेंज बनाती है। आज हमारे साथ एक ऐसे शख्स हैं जिन्होंने भारत में दिव्यांगजनों के लिए असिस्टिव टेक्निक को बदलते हुए देखा। दुनिया के मशहूर थ्योरेटिकल फिजिसिस्ट प्रोफेसर स्टीफन हॉकिंग के कहने पर इन्होंने उनके लिए एक बैकअप कम्युनिकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर भी बनाया था। आइए स्वागत कीजिए मिस्टर अरुण मेहता का। स्वागत है आपका, जो असिस्टिव टेक्नोलॉजी के जानकार हैं और दिव्यांगजनों की मदद के लिए हमेशा आगे रहते हैं। अरुण जी, कैटलिस्ट फॉर चेंज में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद।
सबसे पहले हम आपसे ये बात करना चाहेंगे कि आप बरसों से इस फील्ड में हैं। जो दर्शक हमें देख रहे हैं उन्हें बताइए कि असिस्टिव टेक्नोलॉजी दिव्यांगजनों के लिए किस तरह से बदल रही है, किस तरह से उनकी जिंदगियों को बदल रही है। साथ में
मैंने जब शुरू किया तब प्रोफेसर स्टीवन हॉकिंग के पास एक लैपटॉप था जिसको वो एक बटन दबा के चला पाते थे। आज अगर हम देखें तो लोगों की आंखों को फॉलो कर सकती हैं टेक्नोलॉजी और चश्मे, जिससे कि मतलब उन्हें हाथ नहीं हिलाने पड़ते। अब यहाँ तक हम पहुंच रहे हैं कि दिमाग से सीधे सिग्नल आपके कंप्यूटर को चला पाएंगे।
बट पीछे की कहानी क्या है? किस तरह से आपने अप्रोच किया, किस तरह से ये बात आगे बढ़ी कि आप प्रोफेसर स्टीफन हॉकिंग के लिए एक स्पेसिफिक बैकअप कम्युनिकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर बनाएंगे? व्हाट इज द रियल स्टोरी देयर? हाउ डिड इट ऑल हैपन?
2001 की बात है। प्रोफेसर स्टीवन हॉकिंग भारत आए थे और यहाँ पे उन्होंने बहुत सी सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज को कांटेक्ट करने की कोशिश की। उनके इर्द गिर्द जो लोग थे जो काम करते हैं, उनमें से एक हमारी भी थी और मेरे कॉलीग विक्रम कृष्णा उन्हें मिले बम्बई में और पता लगाया कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है। प्रॉब्लम उनकी ये थी कि सॉफ्टवेयर तो मरता नहीं, सॉफ्टवेयर तो चलता रहता। जो हार्डवेयर वो यूज कर रहे थे उसे कोई बना नहीं रहा था। जो टेक्स्ट टू स्पीच का जो हार्डवेयर था वो एक डेक टॉक अलग से डब्बा था, अब कोई बनाता नहीं है ऐसे। तो यदि उनका हार्डवेयर खराब हो जाता तो उनकी आवाज चली जाती। तो इसलिए उन्हें चाहिए था कि एक बैकअप हो और उन्होंने कहा कि भाई सिर्फ मैं ही नहीं हूं और बहुत हैं लोग दुनिया में जिनको ऐसे सॉफ्टवेयर का फायदा होगा। तो हमने फिर वो चैलेंज एक्सेप्ट किया।
Tell us a little bit about the stage at which perhaps a person can really benefit from a technology like this, and policy makers, what can they really do? What is going to be your message so that it is accessible?
Especially for persons who are very severely disabled, there pretty much needs to be a custom solution. So the example that I gave is just as there is, whatever is your medical problem, you can always go to the Indian Institute of Medical Sciences and ask them to treat you. Similarly, there should be a place where a severe person with disability can go with a technology problem. Perhaps some sort of a facility attached to an engineering college. And, where students can do projects to help persons like this. Take for example athletes that go to the Paralympics or disabled people who wish to become athletes. They may need all kinds of technology in order to get there. Now, if you look at the teams of other countries that they sent to the Paralympics, there are dozens of people. There are people who are specialists in materials, in systems, in electronics, in software, and all of them combine to produce gadgets or environments that are ideally suited to that specific disabled person. Now, this sort of a facility should be there for all disabled people so that you can maximize your potential. So, a person should really be able to go there with any problem, and then the people over there, the students guided by the faculty, can say, okay, this is what we can come up with, and then work together with the person to make sure A, that it works well and correctly, and B, if there are any problems, that you can fix it.
Do you see willingness within the government policymakers to consider these kind of steps that you're talking about? Because I think it can really help so many people in the country who have so much of potential, but perhaps this gap that exists between a solution and, that person who could actually use that solution and do so much well in the life.
That is, you're hitting the nail on the head. But as far as I'm concerned, I gave up trying to get any help from the government long ago. I tried in the beginning, and this was a very, very frustrating experience. So I myself write software. So I really don't need to hire people to be doing that. I have computers. I work out of home, so I don't have those costs. So I can afford to do this free. So I really don't need to go to the government or, go to even, even like, for example, if some funding agencies, international agencies are prepared to help you, it takes so much time and so much effort to get government permission to receive that money that it's just not worth it for a small organization like mine. And now I'm retired. I'm not running an NGO anymore. So now occasionally by word of mouth, somebody comes and needs some help, and I'm happy to provide it. Some students come and I'm happy to, offer them projects that they can do to help people. And I hope some students watching this might take advantage of this, because I would love to, rather than writing software myself, be teaching students to write the software, because for them it is a benefit for their lives.
I was just looking at some of the applications that you worked on and you prepared, you and your partner Vikram Krishna. One of them was Pocket SMS. Right. The other one was Narangi, then Skid for kids with cognitive disabilities such as autism, dyslexia, etc. Right. That got a lot of attention. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, Pocket SMS was written by a student who made this a project. And the name comes from, he thought that even people who are not disabled can use it. Actually, it was designed for people who are both deaf and blind. This is the only way that they can use a smartphone is through the vibration. And so it was vibrating Morse code. And so that if you received a message, you could pick it up through the vibration. He called it Pocket SMS because he says any student would love to have a phone in the pocket, and you can pick up the SMS simply through the vibration. Your hands can be outside. Nobody knows that you're getting any messages through your pocket. So that's how it was called. Skid was a software for special kids, which was this web-based Ruby on Rails platform where college engineering students could very quickly make modules to help specific kids. So we were working with special schools and working on the problems of individual kids. So, we didn't hesitate to write software for each and every child. And the way that we could make this in any way affordable was by encouraging college students to take these things up as projects. So that's the only way to write free software in the country. Narangi was an app we wrote for Android. This was for deaf-blind children, pre-literate, deaf-blind persons. So basically, we designed this with the help of colleagues from the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education in Mumbai. Whatever you could move your finger on the screen and draw a pattern. And then if you wanted to share that, some other person wanted to find out what you had drawn, by moving, you could, in a separate mode, you could move your finger on the screen. And if it was over something black, then the phone would vibrate. If it was over the background color was orange, so that's how we called it Narangi. If it was over something orange, then it wouldn't vibrate. So you could sort of trace with your finger what the other person had drawn with her finger. So for deafblind people to communicate through a slate, before you have learned to become literate.
And that is the reason why it is important to share your story with so many people, because it can really help bring about the change the society needs right now. So I want to ask you a little bit about the kind of projects that you worked on, the kind of solutions that you sort of also worked, how the journey really has been that can really benefit the people with disabilities, and how affordable is it really? Because even though technology has solution for a lot of things, affordability can also become a hurdle for many.
Affordability is a huge issue. If you are a poor person, you're much more likely to be disabled, because nutrition may be poorer, health services are poorer, and so on. But even if you don't start out being poor, if you have a severely disabled person in the family, you become poor, because one person full time is looking after the disabled person. So now, for example, I was working with a person with ALS who could only move his eyes. There was no other way for him to communicate. So for his family, it was essential that somebody be looking at his eyes 24/7. So what they came to me for was software that would merely detect that he had opened his eyes, so that when he went to sleep, they could also get a little shut eye. There is also a lot of hope. Some of the new things that are happening, artificial intelligence, eye gaze tracking, getting signals from the brain directly, new technologies. There are a lot of possibilities that are very, very interesting for disabled persons. In fact, the disability sector is always the place where you can apply new technologies. And you'll find very often that when people come up with new technologies and products, they look for, the disability sector to try them out. And so for students, for engineering colleges, this is a very good area to get into.
All right. That was such a wonderful, story, sir, of yours. And I'm sure it's going to help many of the viewers who are watching us today. Thank you very much, Arun ji, for explaining that. Thank you. आने वाले महीनों में हम ऐसे ही और कई कैटलिस्ट से बात करेंगे जो दिव्यांग जनों की जिंदगी बदल रहे हैं, एक ऐसी दुनिया बना रहे हैं जहां उनके लिए कोई रुकावट ना हो और एक मजबूत समर्थ समाज हो। समर्थ बाय हंडे पहल की इस खास बातचीत कैटलिस्ट फॉर चेंज में हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए धन्यवाद।